welcome back to The Grove. My name's Ace,
I'm Tori.
I'm Augusto.
and today's topic that we're going to be talking about is bad writing. I have a lot of feelings about this topic, being a little bit of a writer myself.
To be fair, you put in this topic.
I did do that. I honestly was kind of hoping we wouldn't get this topic for a while longer, because there are things that I can't talk about yet. But anyways,
My DS isn't charging. Sorry, my DS wasn't charging.
oh my god.
So, let's put some context. Our favorite little rat, Tori, is playing under DS. I'm here drawing.
And I'm ranting.
I gotta play Pokemon Diamond, guys. I gotta do it. I actually haven't finished it, so.
Finish the commissions.
Oh my god.
Oh, Windows update.
Ooh.
I hope that didn't pick up. Oops. Listen,
Wow.
I've gotten the Windows update notification sound like 4 times since I turned my PC on. It needs to chill. It's been off. It has been off. My PC hasn't even been turned on in days. And it hasn't been turned on since Thursday, matter of fact. So there is no reason for this. You had so much time that you were offline. You could have updated when I turned you on today. And you didn't. That is on you and not me, PC. Anyways, bad writing.
So, one of the things, so there's gonna be a couple of different things that we're gonna talk about. Just general bad writing and stuff, and then we're gonna talk about specific shows or stories that we know of, that we've read or watched, that exhibit these bad writing techniques, which, honestly, please remember your high school English teacher telling you, show, do not tell. That is my only.
Let me tell you something about my English teachers. My English teacher in high school was a yoga instructor. For context, I did not go to a good school for my first 2 years when I did finish my English stuff, so I didn't learn jack shit. Ace can testify.
Yeah.
To my writing.
Anyways, so my biggest issue is when writers do not show, but they rather tell, because it is very clear, like, it is so easy to get a specific emotion if you choose the right words. Or if you show what the characters are feeling rather than telling. Like, if you tell me, oh, they felt horrible for their actions, rather than they felt they felt a deep sinking in their gut as the realization of what has happened around them hit them, that is going to be a lot more impactful than they felt horrible. That is my biggest gripe with most writing, because a lot of people don't do it, and it is frustrating because, I don't know, my hand is red from me slapping it.
There was a lot of passion in that.
There was a lot of passion. My hand is turning red, guys.
You need a band-aid?
No, it's fine.
I accidentally stabbed myself with some piece of furniture at work today, and I just looked down because my leg stung, and I'm like, oh, okay. There is blood dripping down my leg right now.
Oh no. Anyways,
not the first time.
That is another story time. That is another time. But for example, like you can go into a story without planning every single thing. That is completely fine. But not having plot points that you know you want to hit throughout the story, and yes, those can change depending on how you're writing your story. Oh, this person is really invested in this thing, so I'm going to change this plot point up a little bit or change it up completely so that it fits these characters more. That's completely fine. But going in with nothing is also a big no-no, in my opinion. You do not have to plan out every single scene, every single thing. But going in completely blind is not the greatest idea, just because you don't always, if you don't know where you're hoping for this to go, you have no goal for this writing, basically. You are writing to simply write, not to tell a story. If that your goal is to just write, completely fine. If your goal is to tell a story, have an ending that you wish to meet, but that can change. That is another thing. Yes, I love writing. I have loved writing since I was a child.
It's okay, I have
I
some controversial takes that I'll bring up later.
yeah. I have been writing since I was a kid. Um for a long time I stopped writing just cuz I lost interest in it because school was forcing me to. But since then I've gotten back into writing and I realize why I love it so much. And that's one of the biggest reasons why am beginning to have so many issues with these writing mistakes, especially when there are very clear writing mistakes or lots of people have given these people advice or they have given or like, hey, this feels very bland. Can you spice it up? And then they do nothing to change it. Or they get upset when they get criticism of any kind, even if it's constructive criticism, which is very good criticism in my mind. Um, but yeah, that is my stance on writing, just in general. Um, if you guys want to say your stances, you can.
Well, let's see. Here's the thing. You said going in without an idea is not always good. I think sometimes
Mhm.
it's okay because you
Yeah.
can go in blindly and see where it takes you. And then that's where you can
Mhm.
like switch it up a bit and then realize, "Oh, this inspires me to do this or to finish
Mhm.
it like this." But it could also
Yeah.
end up like this and thinking of different opportunities to have the writing go.
Mhm.
Cuz
The thing. Oh.
oh, it's gonna be like because I've done a few projects where it ended up where
Mhm.
I didn't have a complete ending or
Mhm.
a complete
Yeah.
ground idea, but yet
Yeah.
was able to ungroup an idea later on.
Yeah. What I was more of meaning is like you don't have to have like the ending figured out. You don't have to have like little plot points in the middle, but I feel like you have to have something figured out. Because if you have nothing, you do I feel like it's a lot more you're a lot easier to either lose motivation, it's a lot easier to not write as good as you can because my in my opinion having at least something to work towards like and again it can shift and change like even if it's a small thing like I want this character to have a pet like even if it's a small thing like that like it does not have to be this big grand thing but as long as you have something even if it even small or if you're trying to write a backstory for a character and it's like this is where they're ending up I don't know where I want this to be so you just start that is how I write backstories, but it's also the thing of they need to end up this way.
I was
That
gonna be
is
like,
kind of what
one
I'm
of the
meaning.
like the character I have named Moss started from nothing. I just saw a clock character, I'm like, yeah, I want to play this little guy. And then talking
Mm-hmm.
to other people, we realized, what if we do this? And then we just kind of went with it. He started
Yeah,
with nothing and ended up with something.
but you
Like,
had the character. That is what I'm also
yeah, with no
meaning.
info, but I had the
Yeah,
character.
like you had you had the idea of a clock character. What I'm meaning is if you go in with nothing at all, like not even a character, I feel like you're setting up yourself up for failure because you have literally nothing on the table.
Oh,
Because
that's what you mean.
yeah, that's what I mean. You have nothing on the table. You have a blank sheet of paper and you're like, I want to write a story. But you have nothing to start with. You have no character, you have no story, you have nothing.
I feel like that's where you go to step one and just go, what can I find for inspiration?
Yeah, but that is the thing. I feel like some people walk away from writing because they try to get right to step 2 rather than step 1.
So that's what. Okay.
Yeah, because and that is like that's one big thing for me is never step up to writing if you don't know what if you don't know anything to write about, what to write about in general.
I mean, you could just start
Like
writing random things you think about, and then choose
it
one
could
of those things that you like, and then come
mhm,
up with a story from it.
you could. That is step 1. But I'm trying to think of how to word it. Like you I feel but like as soon as you start to create a character, that is you start to think about, oh, this character would be really cool if they did this. But there are some people out there who create a character just basically the image of a character. Nothing else about that character figured out, just simply the image. And then and like yes, you can work off of that. You can work off of that, but I feel like it's a little harder to. It's harder to. You aren't giving yourself the easiest passage, I feel like, if you're simply working off an image, if you haven't thought about anything like personality for the character.
Hmm.
I feel like you're making it a lot harder on yourself if you haven't thought about things. And there are people who will disagree with me. Like Augusto is disagreeing with me in some ways.
Yeah,
But
because
that is my opinion. And that is how I write.
half of the stuff I don't have figured out. But then I start connecting the dots later. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was like a giant map. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
now these 2 points connect. Now we
Yeah.
gotta connect them forward.
Yes.
So
And again, it's like you don't have to have the big things or everything connected right away. That's why that's why I gave the example of I want this character to have a pet to like as one of the things you're working towards. That is why I gave that. It's such a small thing and for most characters it's a very insignificant thing. In a bigger story, it might be a more insignificant thing, but it is still a thing to work towards in your writing. Like, I can't say anything about Sleepy. Um,
nope. You could, let's see.
I'm trying to
We
think of
have
one of your characters to for an example.
it's gonna be like Jabba's thing is somewhat completed. The entire
Mm-hmm.
arc it did. I will say that one was a little bit unclear
Mm-hmm.
because
Like,
of multiple things.
wasn't Jabez's whole thing basically trying to figure out a way to escape um their master, basically.
Yeah, trying to escape the puppeteer, and that just came out of what's it called? Nowhere as well. For like,
Yeah,
because I didn't have the idea of it. I knew that the necklace that he had was going to do something to make him like lose control
yeah,
of himself, but didn't know exactly why until
yeah,
later on
yeah.
after it,
But
where it would make
after,
sense.
yeah, but even just having this necklace is something with the necklace is going to cause him to lose control. That is still something. That is a plot point to work towards.
Which I will say, when we did little story, the thing with Elswick's character, where my character would just give them puppies to taunt them.
Mm-hmm.
I can say this now.
Yeah.
The reason why they started doing that is because they were putting a bet with someone, and just to prove they can make the tier to leave them alone. But they did like a little bet, and if they won,
Mm-hmm.
they'd be left alone, and if not, well, we got the ending. What that happened,
Mm-hmm.
they lose themselves.
Yeah. So, like, so it all started from just you having this character and being like, I want this necklace to cause him to lose himself in some way. That was something to start with. That was a goal you were moving towards with your storytelling.
Oh,
And that
ghost!
is what I'm trying to say. What?
Sorry, I heard a geese.
Oh my god.
I heard a geese also. I'm like, I turned around just to try to find. Oh, they're
Goose?
flying over there. Oh, they're
A
going so
goose?
far.
So
But
I am
that.
a reader, not a writer. So
Mm-hmm.
I just chill. I have my things I don't enjoy in writing as a
Mm-hmm.
reader.
Well,
For example, one of
So
my controversial opinions, but we'll get to that later.
so
I
we
used
have
to
I'm
write a
just
lot.
I'm just realizing we have a writer, a storyteller, and a reader.
Yep.
Because writer and storyteller are slightly different. Because I enjoy writing and I enjoy making writing as good as possible. That is basically what I like to do.
I like
You
telling
like
a
telling
story.
stories with your writing.
Yeah.
Tori likes reading.
I've done like a little bit of writing, but mostly short horror story is the type of writing I
Mhm.
do. And I
Mhm.
only would do it for classes. I did enjoy the short horror writing I did for the classes
Mhm.
because I got to like choose what I was writing, and I enjoy horror as a genre, but
Mhm.
like I wouldn't say I got
Oh, I
too
love
in as a writer in those. I'm
Mhm.
proud
love
of
reading
them.
that
I
way.
like them, but you
Mhm.
know, I wouldn't say
So,
they're anything too special.
what are your opinions, Tori?
Should we open it up with the controversial one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
Go
open up
for
with
it.
the controversial one.
I despise reading Edgar Allan Poe.
I never read
I
them.
don't really care for it either.
I listen. The man is a good writer. He's done a lot for writing, especially horror writing. But it is miserable trying to get through any of his things. It's too much descripting. Like you were talking
Mhm.
about show, don't tell. All he does is describe the damn place
Mhm.
that it takes place to try and create that horror environment, but it's so overdone that it's like, when are we going to get to anything interesting? And that is a big problem
Yeah.
I find with horror writing in general, is that when
Mhm.
you take so long to set up the environment, it makes me not want to finish your book. Because if I have to get
Yeah.
300 pages in before anything happens, I'm not finishing it. I'm sorry. Like 300 pages in and you're gonna tell me you haven't even started the horror stuff? 300 pages of a like 400 to 500 page book. That means over half of the book is damn descriptions. Like, I'm sorry. I get creating a horror environment, but that's just
Mhm.
overkill to the point where I don't
And
care about your horror environment.
I feel like horror is one of those types of genres that needs description, but also you can be done with very little.
Yeah,
Because here's the thing, if you have the simple thing of you're walking down the street and you hear the crackling of a fire down from to your left and you turn and there's nothing there and you see no smoke, that kind of sets up a small bit of horror.
like I'm gonna give credit to an author that I have been enjoying lately, which is Ali Wilkes. I've read All the White Spaces first, and now I'm
Mm-hmm.
reading Where the Dead Wait. And All the
Mm-hmm.
White Spaces opened up kind of normal horror, where yeah, there was a lot of description, but it didn't take too long for the spooky stuff to start happening. And it was already like a
Mhm.
spooky environment without having to be overdone. Because both books take place on the open seas on a ship, which is a very enclosed environment. There is no escape.
Yeah.
Like, you
Like
are on a ship, your only escape is the water. And
yeah,
chances are
or
it's freezing cold Arctic water. You're not surviving.
yeah. Or
Um,
like especially if you have like are trying to have that horror feeling, having it in an enclosed environment is a very good idea just cuz then you know that there's no escape, or that
yeah.
if there is an escape, they have to absolutely try their hardest for it,
Hmm.
and they might not succeed. You
Mm-hmm.
know they might not succeed because it is hard to escape. It is
Yeah.
hard to
Y'all
leave this place.
So,
y'all reminded
where.
me. Sorry. Y'all reminded me of a horror book that I read when I was young. Which
Mm.
is crazy because I usually don't remember. But the only book that has impacted me, like reminded me. I don't remember the series names, but I remember it because it was like semi descriptive, but it also had images because it was a kids book, kids horror book. But it
Mhm.
had like very like detailed like ways to describe how the characters were feeling in the moment,
Mhm.
and it had good plot twists because um I think the main gist of it is that there was like some kids trapped in a school that they
Mhm.
thought was active, but it wasn't.
Mhm.
And in that, there's a kid who has a twin. Through the entire book, we hear the twin until the very end, where the school collapses on the twin, where you realize that the other twin was a ghost the entire time. I don't
Hmm.
remember the
Oh
series
my
name. I wish I
gosh.
did. But through the entire time, the worst part is all the other characters interacted with the twin. And
Interesting.
it's only at the end of the story where they were revealed. They were a ghost. They were dead.
Hmm.
But, yeah. So, where the dead weight, it opens with, I don't think I can say this word for YouTube. It's not like. Yeah, but the consuming of your same species, it opens with that
Oh.
pretty much.
Okay.
Not the act of it, but it's alluded to. You know that that it
Okay.
happens like after the chapter ends. And then,
Okay.
it utilizes time skips, which I will say time skips can be difficult because
Yeah.
when the first one happened, I was like, where are we? Like, is this before? Is this after? Cuz I can't tell right now.
Mhm.
Because, I don't clock the year when I start reading a chapter. I don't look and go, oh, this is a year before the last chapter. I just go, are where are we now? Especially because this book utilizes two different expeditions on the water, the first expedition and the second. So I'd rather
Mhm.
open with like first expedition, second expedition for the chapters. That's my only critique so far,
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
because it's easier for me as a reader to distinguish where we are, what
Yeah.
when it's happening in relevance to the other events. But I
Mhm.
will say pretty good like recent horror writer, because I will say it could be hard to find good horror writers. Really hard, because like I'll look at what other horror readers like and I try and read them, and it was actually one of those stories that was recommended that I literally, like, as I said, like 300 pages in and nothing's happening.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I really wish I could enjoy this book, but I can't. And then when the spooky stuff finally starts happening, it was like nothing. It was
Mm.
barely anything. It was like ritual stuff, and it's like, okay, I waited
I
all
feel
this
like with
time for
horror,
ritual stuff.
yeah, I feel like with horror, there's a lot of overdone tropes. Just generally in
Yes,
writing, actually, there's just a lot
cult
of overdone tropes.
cult rituals, witches,
Ghosts.
burial ground stuff. Like, I just
Oh,
want a more creative spin on some of those things, which is why I
yeah.
do enjoy Ali Wilkes writing, because I feel like there's a bit less sea horror stuff going on,
Mm-hmm.
especially like cuz these take time in like the 1800s, these books.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not modern day stories, and it's like, it's these expeditions where they are dealing with scurvy, where the like things like that are like tuberculosis is a problem. Um like
Yeah.
all that.
Like diseases
I
we don't
found the
think
book.
about anymore as
Yeah.
much. Like
Like they
are
don't know,
really dangerous.
there's things they don't even know yet. Like I'm also
Yeah.
watching a show, The Terror, right now. They don't
Mm-hmm.
know what lead poisoning is. They don't know that like that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And watching it
Yeah.
as a modern day viewer, I know these things and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like all of this stuff is so dangerous that they're doing and they don't even know it. They don't even
Yeah.
know that this is like something that will affect them."
Yeah. But
Um
just generally in writing, there are a lot of tropes that are overused, like forbidden romance or um like just communication, like yes, communication issues can happen, but specifically romantic communication issues. It is done to the bone.
Oh, I can't read any type of like romance book because, first of all, it's always so predictable who's gonna end up
Oh,
with who. It's like,
I'm not meaning
okay, they're gonna be
romance
a couple.
books.
Well, any
I'm not
book with
meaning
romance,
books.
typically. Like, I don't read romance books, I've never
Yeah.
read a romance book.
Hmm.
But just
I'm not
reading
meaning
any
books.
type of.
I'm meaning shows.
Uh, Even then, it's like, it's so obvious who's gonna end up with who, and when you use the same tropes.
Yeah.
It's like I know they're gonna end
Um.
up together. Like it's no
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah.
It's very obvious, actually.
There's just so many tropes that are overused, and it just it just can make your writing a lot harder to read because it's like, oh, well, we know what's gonna happen. Like, I personally love when tropes are subverted because you're like, oh, this is probably what's gonna happen, or these two are gonna end up together. It's so obvious. But then it's like, oh, wait, they're not together. They're not gonna end. What? Weird. Okay.
Oh, another
Like
reason
just to
I.
throw a curveball out there.
So, another recommendation about Ellie Wilkes is that author does LGBT characters in time
Mm.
periods and like realistic depictions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like there's a trans character in one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like for the time period it would be maybe not the most historically accurate but fairly, but not in like a completely negative like wow everyone treats them like shit way.
Yeah. Like, because there would
But
be people, because, like, in the past, there would be people who didn't really care. Because I wouldn't, like, I'd like to imagine that throughout history, a lot of, like, viewpoints have not changed as much. Like, some people have been thinking the same way for hundreds of years,
like I
good
mean,
and bad.
I meet old people at my job frequently that like they have more accepting beliefs. I also
Mm-hmm.
meet the opposite, but like I've had trans kids come in with their grandparents who are completely accepting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is always really nice and refreshing to see because I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of you know, a belief that the older generation is very, very like, against stuff. But it's nice to see
Yeah.
it's kind of that role like reversal of the norm that you were talking about liking to see in writing. It's nice to see it in
Yeah.
real life too.
Yeah. Like, seeing the reversal of tropes or just roles in general, like I saw a post at one point that was, I would love to see a grandmother go on this wild adventure rather than a teenager who has the wisdom and the tools that she would need to be able to do it with her like grown adult son or something just going along with her, like being basically the brawn to her brain basically, and like still being smart and everything, both having their like quirks, like, or both having their smarts or strengths. And I really think that that would be a really interesting story because it is quite literally the reverse, like a really different thing than seeing a group of teenagers be like, yeah, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna go defeat God. Like, yeah, it wouldn't make up for the um impulsiveness that teenagers have in these stories, but there are other like things that could have issues for this grandma. Like, she she has to stop in the middle of a fight and be like, hold on, Sonny, give me a second, I need to take my dentures out or something. Just like the really comedic things, or like play off of the like jokes that could be like the things that could come with old age. Like, there's plenty of jokes and things that could hinder the plot, that come with old age, that come with being a teenager. This like with things that come with being a teenager. Also, never having disabled characters in stories, at least in those types of stories, is really frustrating. Like, yes, there are out there, but none of the popular ones do.
Yeah, you know what? Okay. So, despite
This is a
being
complaint
like
about writing, less than bad writing, but we'll get to bad writing soon.
well, I'd say it's bad writing when you have zero inclusivity in your books.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
fair.
I
Sorry, while you
mean,
guys were rambling on, I actually found the book,
Oh.
and I'm thinking about getting it just to like read it, see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's called The Shadow House.
huh.
One thing I remember is that they have, like I said, really weird pictures in it. I
Bro,
have to
did you
find
guys
it.
ever read like the scary stories to tell in the dark? Those
Oh, I
Mm-mm.
used to watch those.
illustrations, the illustrations on those are horrific. How did you get away with selling that to children? I'm sorry. They're like, if you've never seen them, like, Ace, you could, like, you should attach photos or something of some of those
I have
illustrations.
never seen these things.
Okay, then you
You're gonna
Google
have to
them.
send them to
They
me.
used to have
You're gonna
hardcover of these. Oh, sorry.
you're gonna have to send them to me so I can like
I'll put a
actually read it.
timestamp down so that you can edit them in, but they're horrific. And it's like a kids horror book. They made it into like a movie recently. But I
Mhm.
think I bought the first one of that. I bought one of those books from the thrift store and was reading it in my grandparents' cabin in the woods.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't have many fears
I
now.
so one thing I feel like, so I kind of want to switch to specifically like shows or thing, like to a show that I particularly dislike for the bad writing.
I'm gonna put in general an image from the book just to show you how unsettling it was
Mhm.
that I read this as a kid.
Mhm.
I'll talk about a
Oh.
recent trend I've noticed in shows too that I would say
Um
is partially bad running, but also just the way shows are nowadays is
do you want
pacing.
to go? Yes.
Pacing is so bad because they want to cram a season into 8 episodes. So
It
you're
does not work.
cramming so much into these episodes. Can like why don't you just give us 2 more episodes, right? Give us 2 more episodes at like so that it's at least a little bit better paced because honestly, watching the first half of one episodes feels like I'm watching a completely different episode to the point where I can't even remember what happened in the first half when I finish an episode because you're just cramming so much in and it feels so rushed.
Yeah.
Like,
So
please.
so like for my this is gonna go along with that. Hell has been hotel is one of the shows I genuinely enjoy the show, but it has so many writing flaws that it's so hard to keep track of. And it's just like there are so many characters as well in this show that it's hard to keep track of as well. And cuz let me list off just the first the first two rows of characters that comes up when I search up has been hotel characters. Alistair, Charlie Morningstar, Angel Dust, Vaggie, Husk, Nifty, Carmilla, Carmine, Serpentious, Cherry Bomb, Mimsy, Katie Killjoy, Valentino.
Yeah, that's another problem. Is just too many characters in like a lot of shows. Because the show I started, it's like I can't. Who is this guy again? Which one is he? Oh, okay, he's that one. Could you like give me a little recap on that character before you kill them off?
Yeah, like one thing that I like with Has Been Hotel specifically, it only has 8 episodes for the first season. And because of this, they try to cram 6 months into a season, basically. They cram 6 months into a season. And in my opinion, I don't really feel basically anything towards it. And one thing that they have a lot of issues with is they try, like one issue that I had, this is going to be your official spoiler warning for Has Been Hotel if you have not watched it. If you are interested in watching it, like go and watch it and then come back here and we're gonna go. Okay, anyways. My biggest issue is they don't have good pacing, but as well as they try to play Serpentious's death off as a gag, but also a really big, important, devastating moment. And they don't. And it doesn't work in my opinion. Because Serpentious goes fire, whatever, however he does it, and then his weapon is charging up, and then boom, he's dead. It's like, okay, and then Adam goes, "Whoa, that was close," as if it's a gag, it's a joke, and then he goes on, and then it goes on, and the next scene is everybody breaking down sobbing like, oh my god, he's dead, oh my god. And it didn't hit me the way I think they were trying to, just because it is such a sudden thing. And it's also like we got so few moments with Serpentious that it didn't feel as devastating to me as they were trying to make it to be. And there's a lot of moments in this show that like are examples of that. And I genuinely believe the season should have ended at the courtroom, the Angel's courtroom. I think that should have been the final episode. That would have given us so much more time to get to know these characters, and it could have ended on, boo, Vaggie's an angel. Oh my god, what do you mean Vaggie's an angel? That would have given us so much more time to feel devastated about that, rather than the next episode it being resolved. Or, because I can't. That was. Yeah, that we had like 2 weeks, I think, or a week to sit with that devastation of Vaggie lying to us and everybody. And then it was resolved. Everybody was chill. It was resolved the very next episode, which that is another issue it has been. they resolve things so very fast and so quickly, in my opinion. I do not think they have horrible pacing just in general, because Charlie's said to have daddy issues. We hear about it 3 times before her dad shows up, and he's a good guy. He doesn't do anything wrong for us to dislike him. And because he's this guy, and he makes it the first impression is making us laugh. Like, daughter's calling, oh my god, hey girl. Like, it's like, how are we supposed to hate you? We're told we're supposed to hate you because Charlie has daddy issues with you because of you. What? You guys can speak. I went on a rant.
I got really focused on my art. I bet you.
I'm about to face the gym leader, so.
Oh my gosh.
Listen,
So,
it took me so
we are just
long
letting
to
you rant.
find where I was meant to be in this game. Because the thing is, if you don't pick up a Pokemon game in a really long time, you have no clue where you are relevant to where you're supposed to go. I'm like,
Yep.
what do you... I have to go
alright.
to 2 more towns to find the first gym. What do you mean? Anyways, I would have to say another problem. We'll get into this more when the topic comes up. But shows that completely destroy their character that they've created. Like, you've gave us this character, you've made us know this character to be this, this, and this. And then come the final season, you do something that completely does not fit that character that you've made us understand.
I was actually going to talk about that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
because Voltron is a major culprit of that.
Yeah.
Ace, you and I can agree that, like, Lance's character,
Yes.
it's like, what happened to him?
So is
Yeah, he's
My Little
completely
Pony.
destroyed.
Like, I'll say this. I started watching the new season, season 9. Just because, like, let's see how it is. God. Where did all the character development go? Where did it go? Did it get left in season 8 or 7? Sorry.
Yeah, that is a huge issue because, and I feel like that's a huge issue with people who do not know how to writing stories for the general public. If you don't know how to write and you want to write your own stories, feel free to. I'm not bashing anybody on not knowing how to write, because it does take time to learn. But
and if you don't practice, you can forget it all.
Yeah. Yes. That is a big thing. Because when I started writing again, it took me a while to get back to the level I was at. Because I stopped writing when I was in, like, my entire senior year of high school. I did not write. I don't think I wrote a creative project since middle school, I think. No, since sophomore year of high school. That was the last time I wrote a creative project, and before that, it was years since then. It had been years since I had written something. So it took me ages to, like, get back to the writing point that I'm in. So I'm never going to bash anybody for not being a good writer, sake. But when it is published, when it is a published piece of writing, that is when I am going to criticize it. Because if you get criticism for your writing, you are going to be better in the long run if you listen to that criticism.
True.
And like, for example, I'm still new to editing, and I edit these videos, and there's not much effort that goes into these videos to edit. But there's other videos that I'm editing that require a lot of editing. And so I send, they require music, they require cutting down, they require a lot of stuff. And I'm not that great of an editor, compared to like a bunch of people way above me. So I send my editing to my friends to get criticism and be like, hey, what do you think? What do you think should be changed before I officially post it anywhere? Because I know I'm not great. I know I can fix it. I know it's not the best it could be, but it's as good as I can do right now without criticism. So that's why when you make when especially if it's bad writing that makes it through editors and editors and editors and then like specifically it has been Hotel's case, other writers, 9 other writers aside from VisVPop, 9 writers aside from herself, so which makes 10 writers in total. And you make it, and it's still as bad as it is, because I'm going to once again say, Hazbin Hotel is not as bad as it could be. It is still bad, but it is not as bad as it could be. But if you have that many writers, or if you get editors to look over your writing, if you get your friends to look over your writing, if you get beta readers to look over your writing before you officially post it anywhere, or then I'm gonna be like, what the fuck went wrong? How the fuck is it like this?
You're right. How the fuck did I mess this up? Why is the arm so weird looking? Hold on. Why is the other sleeve larger than the other one? Hold on, that should be smaller.
Yeah.
This is the backhand.
I found an onyx.
But it's just like any other type of art.
Oh yeah.
It is not perfect the first time, and you get criticism from others, and you improve with practice. But when there's so many things coming together to try to make it the best it can be, and everybody involved thinks it's great, or at least good enough to be published without major criticism, but it's still really bad, I'm gonna call it what it is. I'm gonna call it shit. I'm gonna call it shit writing. Because there's only so much you can do to save a thing at that point.
Here's a comment to any beginning writers. As someone who used to read stories by very new writers on Wattpad when I was younger, please, for the love of God, space out your writing. Because I'm sorry, but the quickest way to make a reader like stop reading your stuff is when they open it up to be confronted by just a complete wall of text. There is no spacing other than literally just the space in between words. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't even care if you space it out well. Just put some sort of spacing. I'd rather you try to space it out and maybe not do the best job spacing it out than to not try at all. I don't care if you misspell words. I'll figure out what word you meant to write. Like, I don't care.
I think this is where we should look at my terrible spelling.
That's fine. Like, I don't mind your spelling. Like, but it's the spacing. The spacing. Also, what is it? Is it first person writing when first like person, you open
third person?
Whenever you open up
first
and it's like I hate that. I'm sorry.
First person.
The first person's the worst to read. I'm sorry. Especially from new writers. From new writers, I'm like, I'd rather you not try first person yet. Develop your third person more, and then go for first person. Just because first person is really hard to make enjoyable if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if the reader cannot picture themselves as the character in that first person, it's not going to be effective.
So for people who are just starting out writing and are watching this, a good reason to, like, here are the 5 common reasons. I quite literally just looked this up to start a new paragraph. The focus shifts to another character or thing. There's a shift of narration to another character. Something new happens. The setting changes or time passes. Or, and then with speaking, if there's a new person speaking, always change paragraphs. Even if it's like back and forth, change paragraphs every time somebody else speaks.
It's easier to read that way if you do it.
Yes.
Like, it's so much easier because you're not going to confuse, like, multiple characters speaking it, like, as the same, as much, you know?
Yeah. It is a big thing because with those shifts, those breaks in paragraphs, it, 1, makes it a lot easier to read, and 2, it makes it so then you do not have to sit and stare at a wall of text, but you also see the shift in paragraph and are like, ooh, what changes? Because yes, you can have a huge paragraph, and people have huge paragraphs because those aren't uncommon. But as soon as something changes, that is when you want to change your paragraph. Like, I've seen somebody have an entire page of description for one paragraph in one paragraph, like a description of like somebody that they love, and then and it goes on to the next page a little bit, and then it changes paragraphs. Oh, it's a different paragraph. What is happening? It's a thing like that. And then there's times with that you might want to like still break it up a little bit. But there's no harm in being new to writing. That is a big thing that I want to state. There is no harm in being a new writer. The biggest harm you can cause is making mistakes. That is the biggest harm you can have. But the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I love writing, and writing mistakes can ruin a story. And I want to make sure that people are aware of these writing mistakes as well. But because some new writers aren't aware of these things, and I'm still not aware of all of the mistakes I make. There's plenty of mistakes I make. One of the biggest mistakes I make consistently is I accidentally switch between present and past tense. I do that all the time. And it's something I need to work on. I'm not a perfect writer. I make mistakes. I can get too caught up in the descriptions sometimes. And there can be times where I cannot think of the right word and I put in a filler word and then I forget to change that filler word when I figure out what the word was. Like, you're going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. But if you don't accept those mistakes or don't let people edit your writing to make your writing better in the long run because you think it's perfect the way it is, then you're not going to do good in the writing world. You need to be willing to accept you make mistakes in your writing to be able to grow. And that is in life, that is in general. If you do not accept you make mistakes, you are never going to grow. You are never going to succeed in a community. Because every single person on this planet makes mistakes. Anyways, back to Has Been Tell and my issues with it.
Okay, homeboy.
Shut up.
Like, at this point, we should just add a Has-Been Hotel, freaking
Yeah,
topic.
because half of this has just been Ace ranting about it.
Yeah. We're already almost an hour in.
that
Yeah.
me saying back to Has-Been Hotel, that was like it was a bit of a joke. Just because I was like, I don't know how to end this part of this conversation, so back to
um,
that.
like, I will state, I'm not, like, I wouldn't consider myself a writer, but I will say that I was in honors English for the entirety of my middle school and high school time. So, like, I have done a bit of creative writing because that's a necessity in those classes. It's not all just essays. They do have you write, like, short stories, which is why, like, I have written, like, 2 short stories. They were both horror because when I get to choose, I choose horror. Well, one of them was for a short horror story assignment, and it just happened that it was horror, so I was happy because I didn't really do much creative writing for other genres. I don't enjoy it as much. Especially if they ever
Yeah.
asked me
Mhm.
to write like a romance one, I'm sorry. You're not getting that assignment. I'll take the 0. I don't care.
That's so
Um
valid.
but like I've
Well,
done
somebody
some
did a creative
writing.
project in college. It traumatized the teacher.
I did a creative writing class in college too, and I don't enjoy being told what to do. Like, I don't
That is
enjoy
me with
being told what books to read. I don't enjoy being told
yeah.
what to write about. Like, if it's a creative writing class, I want to be able to write creatively, you know?
Mhm.
Not be told,
Like,
okay, so you're gonna write about this and this. How is that creative writing? When you're telling me
just
exactly what I have to write.
just give me a subject
Yeah.
and let me play with it.
Yeah, like, okay, so you want us to write poems. Cool. Don't tell me I have to write a specific type of poem. If we're doing a poetry unit, let me just write poetry. Except
I
I
used
don't
to be a
enjoy
poet.
poetry. Like, I don't write poetry, I don't read poetry.
Mhm.
Anyways, actually, my professor's
I
favorite assignment
yeah.
was one of my poetry things, and I'm like, really?
Really?
I hate writing poetry. I gave this no effort. What do you mean it was your favorite? You liked it more than the short horror story that I actually like really got into and really like put time into? Like, I got invested in that. I think I went slightly over the word count on that because we had to have
Well,
a certain amount of pages, and I think I was a little bit well, no, I wasn't over, but I should have been over. To like properly conclude the story the way I wanted to, it would have had to be over, so I had to like, mess with the
include it in
length
a
a
weird way.
bit. It didn't end in a bad way. It didn't end the way I wanted it to. Like, I had to skip out on some details because it was like a 5-page maximum, I think, which is
Mhm.
not that many, especially for short
It's
story.
not.
Like,
It's not.
for short story, I wish you would have given me like maybe 10 pages maximum. Would have been a bit
Yeah.
nicer, at least double that. But I enjoyed writing them. I chose to write about stuff that, like, I struggle with.
Mhm.
So, but I tried to make the way I did it is for both of them, I didn't really flesh out a character. I did not do first person, but I strictly referred to the main character as she, like, she did that. She did that. To kind of open it up to a female main character that you could kind of slot yourself into them, you know. You could
Mhm.
see it from that perspective. Reason I chose a
Yeah.
female character is because, of course, I am a girl. So it was
Yeah.
more relatable for me.
Yeah.
But the second short horror story I wrote was about this monster that the main character and nobody else could see, but only the main character knew it was there. She could only ever just sense that it was there, that there was something there, something following her. And even in the safety of her own home, in her bed, underneath her covers like a child, she was not safe. So that was a fun one.
Yikers.
Uh,
Yikers.
my classmates also just like very much interpreted the ending in a very different way than I meant it to go. They were like, is this an allusion to depression? And I'm like, it wasn't meant to be. But if you relate to it, then sure.
Sure.
If that's how you interpret it, then yeah. It was more so like an interpretation of like always feeling like there's something out to get you, never feeling safe.
Mm-hmm.
But
Interesting.
yeah, it was a fun one. I won't forget the first short horror one I wrote though. I'm still angry
Mm-hmm.
about this. I lost a couple points for a creative choice I took that the teacher did not, because let's be real, I feel like English teachers always overly interpret things.
True.
To the point where they miss the interpretation sometimes that it was meant to be, because that's exactly what happened, is that the teacher looked too much into it and interpreted it completely different than it was meant to be, and was like, oh well, if you're trying to do this you need to add this, and I'm like, that wasn't what I was trying to do actually.
Yeah, no, because I can't really talk about what this story is about because it deals with a very heavy subject.
Yeah.
Let's just
Mm-hmm.
say, characters dying in a way
Mm-hmm.
to self. And the teacher did not interpret it as what it was for. And I kind of just sat there like, how do I explain this to you? Um, um,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what was I thinking? Oh my gosh, as I told you, poetry unit for my creative writing class. As I said, my professor actually really enjoyed one of my poetry pieces that I wrote in like maybe 10 minutes if I'm being generous. And literally the poem was about the differences between my side of my college dorm and my roommate at the time's side of the dorm. And it was literally just a direct like, my bed looks like this, her bed looks like that. And my professor goes, this is a beautiful piece about like the differences between us as people, but how we can overcome those differences and still live to get like, and how we can, love each other and all that. And I'm like, no, it's literally about my dorm room, like my dorm bedroom. I literally
Oh my
described my
gosh.
side of the bedroom and my roommate's side.
Oh my gosh.
that's
I
just
don't
kind of
know what to
funny.
tell you, lady. You overinterpreted it.
In the future, um if we want to, um like just have an episode where we read our own writing that we've had in the past, that we wrote in the past, that like doesn't matter how old, doesn't matter, like if you have
Oh,
it,
God.
we read
I,
it.
this is gonna be so bad because the
Oh
worst part
yeah,
is
no.
I have so many books that are on Quotive and Wattpad.
I think I
And it
Oh,
doesn't
deleted.
we
indicate.
get to pick and
I
choose. We
think
get
I
to pick and
deleted my
choose.
Wattpad ones, so I think I'm lucked out there. So I can only really read my college or high school ones,
The worst part
Yeah.
is,
which were not written when I was 12, like the Wattpad
I
ones.
just threw away a series of fanfiction I wrote when I was like 10.
Oh,
10, by the way.
yikes.
And it was 5
Yikes.
books completed. And then,
We can
oh, it's
call.
so bad. It's so bad. You
We
guys
can
want to know the
call.
fandoms? You guys want to
Is it
know the fandoms that were
Undertale?
mashed together? No, even worse.
Milo
It was a
Pony.
It was My Little Pony, but not just that. Five Nights at
Was
Freddy
it?
Oh.
Oh.
and Minecraft.
Oh
Oh.
my
All 3 of
god.
those into one
The three
trilogy.
fixations. The trilogy of FNAF, My Little Pony, and
The main
Minecraft.
character was literally named Derpycraft.
Oh.
I hate how I remember that.
No one is forcing you to share this.
No, I think it's funny. I think it's funny.
We can call the topic our bad writing.
Yeah, yeah.
Homeboy, I had an
Because
Undertale
this
fan
is a bad
fiction.
writing.
I had an Undertale fan fiction that was dealing with pirates.
So, oh my god, it doesn't even have to be like our bad writing. It's just
Jokingly, we call it our bad
yeah,
writing.
yeah.
I might be
Because
able
we
to
have
dig up
bad
one
writing.
of the Wattpad stories if it still exists.
I don't think I have any of my old writing saved.
I think one of them still exists. I'll try
I
and
don't-
Who
find
let me
it.
on the internet?
Hold
I'm
on,
not
let me-
revealing the names. I'm not revealing the username. That is private information. That is a secret I'm
Okay,
taking to my
Here's the thing.
grave.
All my Wattpad stories are unpublished. The quote of stories are still out because I don't know how to unpublish them.
Uh-huh.
That's
They're
your
not
digital
great. They're
footprint.
nice. Okay, they're nicely spaced out, but you cannot read it because of how bad my grammar is. Context.
I
Let's
might
be real. I'm probably
oh,
dyslexic.
I might not have my
Justify.
writing from oh no. Oh no. Oh no, I just found something from middle school. Fuck.
Hold on, let me see if I can
I
find
haven't read
something
this.
on my old account. Hold on.
Huh.
Do you want to know the
Hang on.
title? Do you
Yeah,
want to know
sure.
the title?
Yeah, share the title.
Thomas,
Share with the
New
class.
School, what could go wrong?
Okay, wait. I
Hey
can't.
guys, I found one from 2022, and it's called Stuck in IKEA.
Oh my gosh. This is 5 pages long.
Sorry.
Oh my god, there's two, it's got two chapters.
Okay, so while I can't locate the actual stories I had on Wattpad because I did private them, I can read
Uh-huh.
you guys some short horror story ones. There's only
Oh.
2, and they're short. So if you guys want to hear some bad writing,
What is this?
if
What
you
is
want to hear
this?
some bad writing, I got you guys.
What is this?
Found it.
All
I found my
right,
Wattpad account.
guys.
Oh my god, this was an outline. Fuck it. Oh my god, I wrote an outline.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Wait,
I'm
how
gonna
old
read
is
you the
this?
titles of these.
Oh no.
We have Sea to Shore. We have Reality Switch. We have Reality Switch 2. You heard me. A second one.
Oh
Manhunt.
my gosh.
You can tell which fandom was in at the
Oh
time.
no.
God damn it.
Oh.
Going on a trip. Spivey adopts a kid all alone. One
Who?
shots.
Who was the kid?
Spivey. It's a YouTuber I was hyper fixated at the time. You know what's the funny part?
Not
You know what's the funny part?
our friend Spivey.
No, Spivey.
Okay.
Oh, Spivey. It sounded like you were saying Spivey.
It did.
Spivey. I did.
Question, how
My
do you
bad,
look at
G.
the history? How do you look at the history on fucking, what is this? Google Docs? Because I need to
Where's
see how,
that's where the beaver
don't
connection came
know.
from. Anyways,
oh
You
god,
guys,
this is from 2020.
guys,
Oh god.
do we want to close out this episode with some bad writing? Some actual real bad writing of my short
Alright,
horror
guys.
stories. I can probably log into my Wattpad and get the privated ones.
oh no, the shipping stories.
For if
Oh,
we
I
do
forgot
an
these
hour bad writing one, and I'll also read some college
Oh.
ones. But
Oh my god.
this
Okay.
one is a short horror
You guys-
story.
Alright, before you do that, how old do you want mine to be?
However old you want it to be.
However
The
deep you want to
oldest ones-
dive.
Hold on. Let's see. Where's my published? The oldest stuff I have are from 2018. And hold on, let's see. When are these from?
What
Gotta
is
read.
this? What is this?
Oh, this is from
Oh my god,
2017.
this is from 2020
So
and 2021.
all of the ones I have are from 2017,
Okay.
which was when I was 11. No, not. I'm not 18. Oh, how old was I? 13. 13.
2017. Who let me on Wattpad back in 20?
So
God.
it's Would you guys want to hear to end this
November of
episode
2020.
my own shitty short horror stories that are like a paragraph
Sure.
each? I have two. Two of them are like true story ones, which I definitely talked about in the
Sure.
haunting
I'll
episode.
find the shortest book I have. I'll find it because there's some that are 25 pages.
Oh yeah, definitely for the actual topic, but for the topic I'll log into my old Wattpad. This one is called Twins. We were always twins. Sometimes you forget. How can you forget your twin? We are identical. You call me a mirror. Why? I'm your twin. What reflection? Can't you tell it's me? Your twin. You don't have a reflection. You have a twin. I was 13. Now this one's called Under the Bed. Ever felt like something was going to reach out from under the bed and grab your foot? You bolt up from your bed and quickly move away from your bed so it doesn't have a chance to. While it is waiting. When are you gonna slip up? And that's enough of that. Very overdone horror tropes because I was a 13-year-old. And I had not read enough horror to have like had enough of those tropes apparently.
Oh.
They're not they're bad. They're really bad. Atrociously bad actually.
Wedding.
But they're not as bad as anything else, so.
Yoshi? Sorry. Sorry, really confused. That was really confusing because I'm looking through my old documents trying to find my specific writing. And I just found a thing that I had been sent a long time ago. That is not my writing, so I'm not going to read it out. But I am going to delete it. And it just I like was about to click off and I just see Yoshi. I'm like, "Huh?
Okay.
Why is Yoshi here?"
So the worst part is half of these books are kind of like fan fiction books of shipping and romance. The thing is, if people, I'll give this for context. I'm Aries. I don't know the difference between like good friendship, like best friends, and romance. By the way, so you can imagine how these were actually.
We cuddled.
Oh god. I found soulmates with the enemy.
Oh no.
What?
Oh
Okay,
no,
let me read you these
Ace.
titles. Let me read you these titles. This is the last one I did. This is All Found and Alive. We have The Love of Sansa's Kill Myself. Anyways, we have Magical Love. I want to kill myself. Jokingly, I have to
Also,
say that.
for those who
so
try
bad.
and find my Wattpad, there's nothing on there that is worth your time. Everything was privated except for like that short story collection, and there's really not much to it.
Dude, my
I
description
wish
on
you
this is
luck.
actually wrong. Does this thing still works? No, it still works. What? Oh no. How do I delete conversation? How do I delete conversation?
I found a OC backstory for My Hero Academia.
I'm sorry, what? I had to pause and realize that. Like, hold on.
Of all things, you chose My Hero Academia.
I can't say anything, for I was in the Undertale fandom, and
That
then
is
you know
true.
became SMP.
You're in no
I
spot to
genuinely
talk.
I can't say anything. I can't judge. I can't judge.
I have been clicking on I have found so many stories.
Okay, you know, at least
can we end this episode
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
wait. This is the only book I'm actually proud of is this one that I wrote called Reality Switch. And the concept is, what if these certain YouTubers switched with who they were before, like an opposite AU. But there were certain ones that didn't get switched and they couldn't talk. Like, tell the truth.
Yo, my
like
Bidoof
the
leveled
concept.
up.
Bidoof!
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I think
I love Bidoof,
I think
guys.
this is where we're gonna end today's
Idea.
episode
Please.
because before we embarrass ourselves even more
If
with
you
our own
want,
bad writing.
if you want us to read out our bad writing, you're gonna have to request that.
No, we'll put it on
We'll
the
put
wheel.
it on the wheel.
We'll
Put
put it on the wheel.
You guys
We'll
can
put
make
it
me
on the
cry
wheel.
because I have stuff from 2020 and 2017.
That digital
Y'all can make me
footprint is
cry.
not
don't have-
kind to you,
Oh,
Augusto.
it's not. So
Wait,
I only have things
how
from
can
back from
I-
2020. I don't have things. Oh, wait, maybe. Yeah, no, I don't have things that are really older than that.
I don't
at
have
least on
anything
this
past
account.
2018. That's when I stopped writing, was like 2017. So.
Let me.
Other than school
Yeah,
stuff, which
Yeah,
isn't that bad.
we can check this
Why
one.
was it 43 pages? What the fuck is wrong with me? Sorry.
What?
One of the
Okay,
books.
but anyways, okay, so
We got roll for the next one.
okay, yeah, we got yeah.
And our
I'll put it on
suffering.
there right now. I'll put that on right now, just so then there is the chance that we have to.
If it rolls,
read
I'm
this.
vetoing it for at least the next week. You gotta give me time to get into my Wattpad account. I don't remember
Okay.
the login.
It would be
So-
funny. I would cry.
Next
It's
week's
sad.
topic to end our suffering is.
Don't tell me you landed on it. Don't tell me you landed on it.
I just did it! No fucking way!
Don't tell me you landed on it.
You landed on it!
I veto. I veto.
This is the one veto you get for the wheel.
Okay.
We each get one veto.
I feel like we've
deciding-
definitely used more than one veto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. Okay, here's. I swear to God. I swear to God.
It was
Dreams,
already
please.
vetoed. It's not allowed.
Give me dreams and I'll be happy, please. I want to talk about the dream.
Anything else?
AI.
I have
We have a
opinions
lot of-
on this.
Yeah, we have a lot of issues with AI.
I have many opinions on
But that was
this
so
title.
funny. That was so fucking funny.
There's many
I
opinions on
just
this
added it, and then it was like, you know what? We're gonna make you read it.
Yo,
No.
I'll get to talk about how AI almost got me like completely failed out of college.
Ooh. Oh, I remember you talking to us about this.
Yeah.
That's really oh my gosh, yeah.
You guys will have to
Alright,
wait
so-
till next
No
week for
spoilers.
that.
I want to hear
Yeah.
this. No
Yeah.
spoilers. I want this fresh for next week.
So that is our topic for next week.
Oh my.
AI. We get to complain about AI and how it is shitty.
And it ruined
that.
my life almost.
Almost ruined Tori's life. Well, I've been Ace.
I was Tori.
I'm gonna be Augusto.
And don't get lost in the grove. See you
Or do.
later.
If you want to, I mean, go ahead.
I mean, I trip and fall if you want. Just like the spider web.
We won't stop you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Leave.